Hi, everybody. It's Wednesday afternoon, and we're back, Neil and myself. And lo and behold, we've got a guest. We are very privileged to have Brian here today, and because Brian is going to make this so interesting for us. Can't wait to hear what Brian has to say. Welcome, Brian.
Guys, thank you so much for having me. It's been a while since we chatted.
Yeah,
We had a bit of fun, I think, a couple of weeks back doing one of these as well. So it's a pleasure to be here to learn.
yeah, absolutely. Well, to learn, and we'd like to learn from you. Brian, what do you do for as a day job?
So I'm in the realm of marketing. We do below the line marketing where I work. So a lot of in-store stuff, and we also we dabble in the world of digital marketing. Quentin, I think you're a bit of an expert in that yourself.
Oh, yeah, very interesting. So, we're talking today about the dark art of digital marketing. So, I hope between you and me, we could actually explain what does digital marketing mean and what it is. Well, Neil, you feel free to chip in at any time, eh?
Digital marketing. I thought that I knew something about it as a personal trainer. I think that because our study, like the thing that we're good at, it's so easy to learn. We're just like, oh, we can learn anything. And then I quickly found out that I have no idea how to do digital marketing, which is why Quentin, you exist in my world, and I'm very, very appreciative of you.
Cool. But Neil, when you do a course with one of the personal trainer academies, is that not one of the modules? Don't you learn about marketing?
Yeah, I think there's some like it's in one of the books that maybe just get like skipped over, like marketing yourself.
Okay.
It's definitely not a something that is focused on, and if it is, I'm pretty sure it's like 20 years out of date.
Okay, so we got a half an hour to update people, 20 years, catch them up on what's happened.
Easy peasy. It sounds like a very, very quick and easy task, Quentin. Take it away. What is the dark art? What is digital marketing?
Okay, good question. Brian, you look like you want to say something.
Let's start with, to me, one of my personal pet peeves is buzzwords. And unfortunately, this is a realm that has been infiltrated by buzzwords. I really, really hate it. And going hand in hand with that is the mass evolution of what digital marketing has become. So maybe it'll be beneficial to guys who perhaps like Neil knows what it is, they see it from a distance, but perhaps have been left behind about all the platforms that are out there. Google versus Facebook versus free versus paid, and how we can drill that down into something that's maybe beneficial for you.
Okay, absolutely. Yeah, so just going back before the days of digital marketing, when it was just marketing, I think in those days, the people focused on the 4 Ps. It was product, promotion, price, and place was the other one. Nearly forgot that one. So, but the essence of it has always remained the same, especially in something like direct marketing, which is kind of where digital marketing has evolved from, because the usefulness of direct marketing is that you get a direct response. It's not just like the big corporates that puts out an ad and hope that somebody's going to pick up their ad and get a sort of warm feeling in their heart about the brand, and maybe when they're in the shop they'll buy your brand, or they'll go out and buy an expensive car because you made them feel you made their heart flutter. So that's direct marketing is different in that sense, because it expects somebody to actually click on a button or talk to you or pick up the phone, or in that sense to get a response from you. And that's the world where I believe for personal trainers that we need to live, is because personal trainers need an audience that can talk back to them. And this is where social media is so wonderful, and it has evolved, and because now we're in a platform where it levels the playing field a little bit between those big corporates and us mere mortals that have got our own businesses, maybe run a small little company or a gym or something like that, because we can extract out of that social media, we can extract leads and get people into our world where we can start warming them up. So ask me about warming them up.
Quentin, how do we warm them up?
Interesting you should ask that, Brian, because that is something that a lot of people feel is a dark art, and it is a mix between science and art, because you're dealing with people and people's responses and emotions, and it's not always predictable. But there's a lot of things that you can do to kind of make things a little bit more predictable, if you will. So warming people up is basically just not going always straight for the kill. So a lot of direct response people have taken that as meaning, I've got to get you on a call, or I've got to show you an ad, and I've got to immediately get you, make a decision, buy the product, sign up for my course, sign up for my program. Whereas usually your conversion rate with that is very low. So a better way to go is to gradually find people where they are in their recognition of the problem that they have, and then speak to them and warm them up in that sense, as giving them advice, give them some ideas of how they can challenge or address their problem, and then gradually you become the expert in their world. You become the brand. So in this case, now we back to the old days. You become the brand that they trust, they know you, they like you, and then when you have an offer ready for them, you're much closer they're much warmer to accept the product or the offer that you make for them.
So that also, I think, makes a great springboard into, or from advertising philosophy to community building, which is why there's a great marriage between advertising and digital.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Neil,
so
your thoughts on it?
Yeah, Neil, Quentin and I think could talk all day. But why don't you give us one more for a change, Neil? Why don't you give us one more? One more.
I'm not going to talk digital marketing because, again, like I'm learning every day from Quentin. But the way that you spoke about how it is not just a direct science, but it's also an art. This is exactly how I was teaching personal trainers about programming. Because programming is also not just a direct science. There's a creative side to it as well. And you can't teach the creative side. So you like, the more you do it, the more programming that you do, the better that you get at it. And the more you get like a feel for what that person could do in the following week type of thing. So if personal trainers out there, if you can kind of relate to how programming is and how there's that scientific approach of doing different phases and the way that you design your program and all of that. And then obviously there's a feeling aspect of what the person needs next to what they're capable of. This is why it's really important to pay someone to do digital marketing for you, because they know how to do that in the specific field. And marketing and sales is huge if you have your own business. Like if you don't have a marketing like strategy or doing something marketing, and if you're not your own salesperson and actually like telling people like, hey, like this is what I do, like would you like it? At the end of the day, if you're sitting back expecting them to come and run after your what you have to offer, in my experience, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah,
I mean, it's incredibly powerful as well. I mean, in our little organization here, we've had some big brands that have absolutely ditched their above the line budget completely. So they've stopped radio advertising, they've stopped TV advertising, and they're just focusing on people in the area on digital. But the cool thing is, Quentin, as you alluded to earlier, the big guys are doing it because it works, and there's no barrier to entry to the little guy doing that as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I think the cool thing versus traditional media is TV, radio, print is just how measurable social media is, down to the nitty-gritty in terms of when somebody spots your ad, clicks on your ad, comes through to your website and goes back to your Facebook page. You could track the person in that whole journey. We in the old marketing days, we spoke about the customer journey, and retailers are very good at tracking people's customer journey from where they first heard of you till they buy. Yeah, it's all at your fingertips. The data's there, but the scary part of it, that also for a lot of people scares people away, because it's too many numbers, too much data, which often is overcomplicating it a little bit.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people that are very successful in Facebook marketing, it's, if I can narrow it down, don't even know they're doing it. They're just being themselves on the platform, and they're attracting the positivity back. I think that's all you really need if you're going to narrow it down to one skill.
Absolutely. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I think it comes down to creating an audience, building up an audience for yourself and getting people into your world, and then connecting in a very sincere way, in a genuine way, without no pretenses and that sort of thing. And the great thing about it, it can be organic or it can be paid. Organic being free traffic that you generate. Pretty much what we're doing now is a organic way of communicating with people. We're not paying Facebook for this live, I hope at least. But yeah, everybody knows that you can buy ad space on Facebook and on Instagram and on all those sort of platforms. But you don't have to go that route. You could actually build an audience. It might take a longer time if you're not willing to put in a budget, but you can build an audience on social media for yourself.
So I would almost argue, if we're going to be kind of basic about it, that if you go the paid advertising route, you can look like a lot of noise out there. You really can, and the user can just scroll past you. I mean, there's a lot to be said for it, don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But if you're starting with no budget, to focus on the organic stuff, I think is amazing, because it ties in with that sense of community, the sense of word of mouth, the sense of accessibility, and that trust factor you were talking about. So maybe if you're a complete noob, can you maybe, Quinton, break down a little bit of the organic flow stuff for us?
Yeah, absolutely.
So that it's not a buzzword again. It's I'm a PT. I've got my page. How do I get organic interactions?
Okay. Yeah. And I think, you know, and Neil will probably know, and some of the students that work with her, I'm a big fan of Facebook. I know everybody tells me Facebook is over, it's for old people, but there's still, you know, 5 billion people in the world that goes onto Facebook every day and checks their friends and whatever's going on. So there's still a lot of traffic to be had on Facebook. We don't need 2 billion people to visit our Facebook page every day. You just need a couple of hundred of people to actually have a substantial business. So I say Facebook provides you with some decent real estate where it's your personal profile, which, yes, it's for you socially, but you know, if you want to make some money, use your personal profile as real estate for your business. In other words, talk about your business, use it to interact with people that are potentially customers with you. The other thing is you can create a page. A few clicks on Facebook will create a page for you, which establishes your business. You don't need a website. Start there. Facebook is giving you a free website. Facebook's got 2 billion people coming past. Maybe you can flag down some of them with your page. And then, of course, the group. The group is magic, because that's where you can actually collect those people that are in your niche, collect them together and start conversations, start interacting, and start warming those people up for the magic moment when you're going to make an offer to them.
And I mean, it's to all those people that are also perhaps a little bit anti-Facebook. I think for the purpose of this argument, they all function in pretty much the same way. So where they are in their life cycle is perhaps an argument for a different day, but they've all got the same kind of methodology, and that's because we're interacting with other people through our devices.
Correct.
So we can take advantage of a lot of the things these big platforms are doing. I mean, they all exist at the moment to keep us clicking and keep us scrolling and keep us going. Exactly. And they're creating a digital footprint of the things we like. And they've, in essence, also helped make it easy for us to find our audience, because it's imperative that that audience has a set of likes and profiles. And it's just as imperative for us to be able to click into that. And that's what keeps us coming back to the platform. So they've helped us a lot.
Absolutely. So the key to that sort of thing is to play the game that Facebook wants you to play, not to try and go up against their rules and stuff, but actually, you know, Facebook wants people to be social. They want people to interact. They want people real live people to talk to each other. So go with that flow. And in that sense, again, Facebook groups are wonderful, because I think Facebook even sort of would prioritize prioritize groups over posts from pages or things like that, because they're trying to pull people into communities.
I think another thing worth mentioning, especially, I don't know, like when people go the organic route, or people just say like maybe social media marketing doesn't work, or something like that, it's, if you go in the organic route and you go in the free route, you literally have to like put your marketing hat on and like pretend that it's part of your job, because in order to stimulate these algorithms, and in order, you kind of need to play their game per se. So let's say Instagram is pushing reels at the moment. If you do IGTV or normal posts, your things are not going to be prioritized, for example. So there's little tips and tricks that you do need to know, but you need to constantly show that algorithm what you're doing, and in order for them to kind of prioritize your posts, for example. So you have to look at it like a job. What you're getting is potential free exposure, but you have to be consistent at it. You don't like put out a Facebook post like, or an Instagram post like once every 2 months, or like a story like once every maybe once a week, because the people that are posting almost daily or have a schedule or regularly posting are going to be prioritized over you. Yeah. So it's very easy to sit back and be like, oh, social media advertising doesn't work, the organic route doesn't work, but they aren't using it, they aren't thinking about it like it's an actual business. And you have to, just like in your job, you have to show up at a certain time, or there's certain tasks that you have to perform. If you want these things to be working for you, you need to be consistent, and you need to put effort into it. You need to have like a thought-provoking sort of topic like today that we have, the dark art of digital marketing. You need to catch people's interest, and then it's your job to do like whatever your product is. You don't have to be interesting, let's say like put on a show interesting, but you have to bring out, like, you have to talk about it in a way where you're catching people's interest. So you have to give away like some of the information from like your product or whatever. It's not like it's in this little box and you can only look inside of it if you pay me this money or whatever. Like, there's a lot to this whole organic reach and everything like that. So if you do want to go the free route, you have to put time and attention into it. And I would recommend the best way to find this out is to speak to someone that is in digital marketing, because they're specialists for a reason. They'll be able to tell you the tips and tricks. They'll tell you things to prioritize. Before I met Quentin, I didn't have a Facebook group. I didn't even know what was possible with Facebook. And after like speaking to him and listening to going on taking his courses, paying for his courses and finding out about it, like I went from like that person, Facebook is out, to holy crap, like I need to be more on Facebook. And it's working really well for me so far. So yeah,
Neil, I think to add on to that point, if you're thinking of people that say it doesn't work, I think there's an interesting analogy we could make. If you're a PT, how many of your clients give you that same line just as the results are kicking in, just as there is a change? Oh, it's not working for me, and they stop.
Yeah.
I think with so many things in life, there is a J-curve effect, and you can take so long doing this, and you give up right before it naturally does that.
Yeah.
So it's the art of not giving up, because eventually the momentum does come in.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I think you're 100%
right. Sorry, well done, Brian. That was a super good analogy. Like,
given up a lot in my life, Neil, I know what it feels like.
Yeah, but you're quite right, Brian. It's as PTs, we often want people to kind of listen to our advice that we give them, and want people to follow along the process. And we know where that process is leading, that there's a result coming at the end of it. And it's the same way with digital marketing. There's a process you follow, and there's a result. So again, you could speed it up by throwing some money at it. I'm not saying throwing some money at it. I'm like with a little bit of thinking behind it and planning. But organic traffic will take you longer. But you can build a consistent audience, which we're talking about a lead generation pipeline, which can be that pipeline for you, that when you want more customers, you go and open the tap let some leads come out, and then close the tab again, and then work with the leads you got. So if you want to build something like that, that's very possible in using social media.
Yeah, and I think something you said just now as well, Quentin, is, you know, people are after numbers. And that's a bit of an illusion as well. You don't need a lot of numbers. You just need a small amount of the right numbers.
Absolutely.
And that is why social media marketing can be so effective, is because it puts you right in front of your potential audience.
Yeah.
And, you know, the guys that aren't clicking on your page, sometimes that's a great thing, because it's fluff. You know, you want people that are genuinely interested in what you have to say.
Yeah.
Because they're either going to subscribe to you, or they're going to put you onto someone they know that should be subscribing to.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and Neil mentioned earlier, you know, that you want the right kind of people to follow you. And, you know, back in the early days of social media, people would just like go out and look for cheap likes. You know, you just go out and advertised. I won't be, but you go into sort of third world countries and you just, you know, spray some ads there and buy some cheap likes, and you get thousands of likes for your page. That is absolutely useless, because you are the Facebook algorithm is learning nothing from that. It's not learning anything about who's your audience, because you're not going to get engagement from those people. So yeah, it's a bit silly to just look for the wrong numbers, and rather look for quality people that are going to follow you. And that's why I like groups again, because people join the group. People don't just like the group. It's a different action. It speaks of more involvement.
Yeah, I think to me, it's so important to get the basis right. So especially in this context of PTs, I don't think your focus needs to be aiming to spend a lot of money. Although, as Neil said, there is nothing wrong with getting a specialist on board. It's going to accelerate the process so much. But if you do need to do it yourself, the more your advertising resembles a conversation, I would say the more successful you're probably going to be.
Absolutely. Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah, so we've just kind of touched this a couple of points here and a couple of sides, and we're already out of time here, but you know, we'll keep talking about this. I think we'll see what sort of response we get, because again, social media, got to see what people actually want. And it'll be great, you know, if we keep talking about it. And then also just to let people know, our membership group is now open. So if you want to join our group, where we go a lot more in depth about these things, and you want to maybe, you know, consult with Neil or myself, that's what's happening in the group. So yeah, get in touch with us.
Well, thanks for spending time with us, everybody. Thank you, Quentin. Thank you, Neil.
Thank you. Thank you, Brian.
Special guest.
Special.
All right. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.